It's time to get back to the business of the people of Texas.
The Texas House gets back to work, kick-started by a divide among Democrats.
Look at it from the perspective of trying to find as much common ground as could be found.
The next steps as the special session moves forward and the fallout from the split among lawmakers. The spread of the Delta variant changes the outlook for how to handle the virus.
This isn't going away. And so we need to really learn what are the steps that we're going to take to live with COVID.
What doctors say Texans need to prepare for now and in the months to come. Jail inmates face a higher risk of exposure to COVID. Our investigation looks at why so many have trouble getting access to vaccines.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Josh Hinkle. The gridlock is gone in the Texas House. Thursday afternoon, enough of the Democrats who had been absent from the chamber returned to work. One key member who returned was Houston Democrat Garnet Coleman. He'd been absent since the end of the regular session because he had his right leg amputated for health reasons. He was pushed to his desk in a wheelchair. Coleman was one of 3 Houston area Democrats who returned to the chamber, joined by Armando Wally and Ana Hernandez. They released a joint statement calling on lawmakers to work together to mitigate the effects of the current COVID-19 surge. Coleman gave the invocation at the start of Thursday's meeting in the House chamber.
I pray that we all of us look inside about where we want this world to go, this state, this House, and look at it from the perspective of trying to find as much common ground as could be found. Pray for everyone here and all of the officials that are doing what they believe is the right thing, and that God continue to give them a sense of what the right thing is.
After the prayer, it was time for business. Within minutes, House members plowed through first readings of bills that have already moved through the Senate. They quickly assigned them to committees to schedule public hearings, and after they finished that first round of work, Speaker Dade Phelan had a message for those in the chamber.
This has been a very long summer. We've been through a lot. I appreciate you all being here. And I appreciate the members who made quorum today. It's time to get back to the business of the people of Texas.
Moments later, Phelan brought down the gavel. The House stands adjourned until Monday afternoon. So what happens now? For insight, we bring in State Capitol reporter Maggie Glynn. Welcome, Maggie.
Thanks for having me.
So the walkout highlighted divisions between Republicans and Democrats, but also between Democrats themselves.
Right. You know, we heard a lot of rumblings before Thursday, actually, that several of the Democrats who were breaking quorum were ready to return, but the caucus seemed to have just enough members on board to keep the House from moving forward. When Representative Coleman, along with Representatives Ana Hernandez and Armando Wally, returned, it surprised a lot of folks in the caucus, particularly those still holding out in Washington, like Representative Ron Reynolds. I spoke to him shortly after the House reached quorum.
I was extremely disappointed. Hurt is a good word. I'm not a sensitive person, but I felt very hurt. I felt betrayed. I felt that they let not just me down, because it's not about me, but Texans, our constituents, many African Americans, Hispanics, vulnerable communities that were counting on them. I'm just at a loss of words, because I did not think that they would do that without at least giving some communication. I think that we had talked about negotiating. There's no room for negotiation when the only thing Republicans wanted was a quorum. So if there were some negotiations, that could have happened before, not after. So I think we lost so much leverage that we gained. I think it was a mistake.
Josh Reynolds actually told me that he and several other Democrats plan to continue the fight from D.C., and at least for now, they have no intention of coming back to the state capitol.
So Reynolds said he felt hurt and betrayed by the people who returned. Is that true for other Democrats? What are you hearing from them?
Well, just from different posts that we've seen on social media, a lot of caucus members shared those feelings of disappointment. Some of them are frankly angry about the decision, but Hays County Democrat Aaron Zwiener posted something something interesting. She said that while she disagreed with the decision to return and open the door to pass legislation like the contentious elections bill, she knows from experience that Coleman, Hernandez, and Wally are guided by their values. Wiener also said those who share values can disagree on tactics.
What about Republicans? What are they saying about the agenda moving forward? Will the elections bill be the first thing to move forward? What do you think?
Well, that bill was the first one that was scheduled for a hearing. I actually spoke with Representative Jim Murphy, who leads the House Republican caucus, and I asked him which bills would take precedence.
I think all the bills will start on multiple tracks in different committees, but I think we'll bring the members together to the House floor probably to vote on a number of bills the same day. There's no reason to piecemeal them out. We're all here. Why not put 10 bills on, in the regular session, we have days where we passed 30 bills or 40 bills.
What Murphy described is similar to what happened last week in the Senate, where Republicans pushed through several bills quickly before Senator Carol Alvarado slowed down the process with her filibuster of the elections bill.
Democrats don't have the votes to stop this. What's their strategy moving forward?
I think that's why there was so much anger and frustration when some Democrats did choose to return yesterday, on Thursday, because they kind of don't have a plan at this point, at least not one that they're making public. Now that they do have quorum, the Republicans have the numbers to push essentially any bill they want through the House. And with some Democrats refusing to return, they're still in D.C. There's just kind of a break in the Democratic Party now that there's no clear path forward.
All right, Maggie, we know you'll be watching this in the coming days. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Josh.
The drama in the House comes as the COVID-19 surge hits new highs in Texas, and it seems no one is immune. Governor Abbott announced this week that he tested positive for the virus. He posted a video from the governor's mansion saying he's not experiencing symptoms and emphasizing that he's fully vaccinated. The governor is receiving Regeneron's monoclonal antibody treatment. His office did send out a statement about the treatment he received. They said he got the prescription from his doctor. They remind everyone not only is the drug free for Texans, it helps keep COVID patients out of the hospital when used early enough. The governor also announced 2 new infusion centers for the antibody therapy will open next week in Beaumont and Odessa. The state recently opened centers in San Antonio, Corpus Christi, and one in the Travis County Expo Center. The governor also announced nearly 2,700 medical personnel have been called up to help hospitals in Texas. That number is expected to rise to at least 5,500 by the end of next week. Those out-of-state medical workers will be paid by the state through the end of September. The medical help comes as the state faces a critical need for ICU beds. We spoke with 2 infectious disease specialists about the outlook for the next few weeks. They both told us the surge in cases is not likely to end soon.
Once someone is in the ICU, they may stay there for weeks on a ventilator. So it's not just the ICU for a few days, then out, where that's the problem. And when you have someone who is sick and then you have other people trying to come in, that's extremely worrisome because we are at capacity. It makes it dangerous for other ICU patients. For instance, if there's a trauma and someone needs an ICU bed, we're talking non-COVID type emergency, strokes, heart attacks, traumas. We're looking at not having the capacity to be able to care for them in the ICU.
I'm not sure that there's any intervention that will be made today that will take effect in the next 30 days. And that's just the reality. Even if we were to surge vaccines to everybody that was unvaccinated, people are already been infected today, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and those are the people that are going to continue to come to the hospitals. We do need to find a way to either incentivize, mandate, or figure out how we can appeal to people that are not vaccinated. And the other thing too is when we talk about the messaging of SARS-CoV-2 or COVID disease, I think it is time to pivot to the conversation of this becoming an endemic disease. This isn't going away. And so we need to really learn what are the steps that we're going to take to live with COVID this year, next year, and beyond.
Both doctors told us the Delta variant is spreading faster than previous versions of COVID-19. They also emphasized the importance of the vaccine. The doctors said the vaccine prevents most cases and makes breakthrough cases less severe than what unvaccinated people experience. A new wave of COVID-19 hits Texas nursing homes and assisted living facilities.
They take such precautions. I know it's saved lives.
Our investigators check back in on the vaccination effort, working to protect some of our most vulnerable Texans. Jail inmates face a higher risk of exposure to COVID, so why do so many have trouble getting access to vaccines? Our investigation takes a closer look. The governor's bid to block mask mandates leads to several lawsuits targeting the ban. Why one filed by several families is making a mark.